Tonight, I really want to throw together a sheet pan meal with root vegetables from Jacob's garden. We'll add a little bit of sausage and some seasonings, and it'll make a wonderful meal. But first, I need to run down to the garden and get the veggies.
Apart.
Oh, yeah. I've got a rutabaga and a purple top turnip, 6 carrots, 4 bunching onions. All of that is from Jacob's garden. And then I've got a bell pepper. So I'm gonna work at chopping all this up and getting it ready. This is the most work that this recipe involved. Other than this, it's just throwing it together and cooking it. If you notice, I'm using mostly root vegetables here. Jacob, with his market garden, he gets a lot of questions as to what he can do with rutabaga and turnips. And we like to make sheet pan meals with them with the sausage. He's made some soup. And then another way to use them is to do a 50-50 mashed potato, mashed rutabaga, or mashed potato, mashed turnip. And when we do rutabaga and potatoes, the flavor reminds me of cream peas and potatoes together. It has kind of a sweetness to it. I'm always afraid I'm gonna end up in the ER over chopping a rutabaga. Turnips aren't quite as bad. I think I may need a bigger bowl. I'm not gonna peel my carrots because there's a lot of nutrition in that peel. These have a few little hairs. I'll pull those off, but I'm not gonna peel my carrots. I'm just gonna slice this bell pepper. I might just chunk them just a little bit so they're smaller pieces. I'm not a work. I'm gonna make them just a little bit smaller so they'll go farther. Okay, now we're just gonna chop up the sausages. Ah, they're falling on the floor. Chuck, where are you, buddy, when I need you? I'm just gonna spray my baking pan a little bit. And then I'm gonna preheat the oven to 400. Okay, we're gonna start with about 5 cups of rutabaga. It's a whole rutabaga, but it really depends on the size of your rutabaga. So I'm gonna say about 5 cups of chopped rutabaga. 4 cups of chopped turnip. And I'm using purple top turnip. I'm just gonna kind of spread them out over the pan. Then I have about 6 carrots here. We're gonna do the same thing with that. And then I've got 1 large bell pepper, and I'm just gonna spread that around too. Okay, I've got about 2 cloves of garlic here, and I'm just gonna try to sprinkle that around. If you don't have minced garlic, you could also use a garlic powder. Just use a tablespoon, or not a tablespoon, sorry, that would be a lot of garlic powder. Probably a teaspoon or 2. I'm gonna drizzle about 3/4 cup of olive oil over the top of these veggies. The next thing I'm gonna do is the seasonings, and I've got 2 tablespoons of poultry seasoning. You can use whatever seasoning you want. It does not have to be poultry seasoning. I just really like the flavor of poultry seasoning. Then we're gonna add a teaspoon of salt. Again, just kind of sprinkle it on over the whole pan. And then a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Now, you can use fresh or frozen broccoli. This is broccoli that we froze out of Jacob's garden. So I'm just gonna put it in pieces all over the vegetables. If you use frozen, just keep in mind it's gonna add a little bit of extra water content to your vegetables. 2.5 pounds of sausage. Did I say how much broccoli I added?
I don't know that you
Well, since I didn't, it's about a head of broccoli, about 1 head. If you don't want to use sausage, you could use some bacon, you could use some ham.
Sausage would be good.
Like breakfast sausage, is that what you
like
mean?
Italian sausage.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Could even sprinkle cheese on top.
Yeah, I thought about Parmesan.
Oh,
Parmesan would be good.
I'm thinking like cheddar, mozzarella.
Okay, then I'm gonna take these bunching onions. Remember, I have 4 bunching onions, or green onions, if you want to call them green onions. And I'm just gonna sprinkle them all over the top. Now, come on, please. Okay, that's good. The key to it not drying out is to put a big piece of foil on it when you cook it. That foil will let it steam and all the juices will stay inside, so your vegetables will get really tender. So I'm gonna stick this in the oven at 400. It's gonna take at least an hour. It's probably gonna take 2 hours for it to cook, for these vegetables to get really tender and soft, and that's what we want. So I'll throw that in there. And we'll check it here in a little bit. I'll lift up with my fork because, you know, the steam will get you if you don't watch it. You want to check the root vegetables, so turnips, the rutabaga, and the carrots, and they're really soft. So it is definitely done. Like I can slice that carrot. Look at that. It's beautiful. On your tray. So you can see all that gorgeous sausage and those vegetables. They look so good. Another one of my favorite quick and easy dinners is this Instant Pot sausage and rice. You can watch that video next. I'll see you next time.